Hi, I'm Jeff Probst, and welcome to After the Fire Talk with me. Actually, no, I'm much better looking than
I
Jeff
was gonna
Probst.
say,
I got a cardboard cutout of him in the next room, which my son had a party the other day, and people were sneaking in, taking selfies with my Jeff Probst cutout. But I'm here with Dan Montchal, Alex Trias, the Reality After Show, the podcast that's been covering Survivor for a long time, even before the three of us were involved. It's been going through many different names. I think it was like Survival of the Fairest, and then it was what was it? Survivor NSFW, and then Reality NSFW. But if you are just tuning into this podcast, or you come here all the time, we are the Reality After Show. We do more than just Survivor, so it encompasses many aspects of reality TV. So we do Big Brother. We've done Amazing Race, The Challenge, Australian Survivor. We've done stupid dating shows. I've gotten roped into doing all kinds of stuff. But tonight we are here for season 44, episode 3. Johnny Fairplay is in Nashville, Tennessee with the Queen, Sandra Diaz Twine. And if you want to watch a season 44 live event with Johnny Fairplay, Sandra Diaz Twine, myself, also Roger Bingham, and a couple surprise guests in my hometown 1 week from tonight, Cincinnati, Ohio. SurvivorTix.com, SurvivorTix.com. It's at a place called the Filson, which is right between the Red Stadium and the Bengals Stadium, right on the banks of the Ohio River. Our friend Wayne Mehmet, who you see on a podcast, comedian here from Cincinnati, also a sales guy for Sonder Brewing, and I just want to give a shout out to. This is not an ad, but I spent $12 for a 6-pack of Sonder IPA, and my good friend Wayne is the sales rep that puts this in our local grocery stores. Delicious IPAs. So
Wayne couldn't get you a better price on that?
Yeah, I know. Wayne gives Johnny Fairplay the "Hey, I'll fill your car up" price. Hopefully I'll get the hookup. But Wayne is going to be kind of hosting like a Q&A next week. So yeah, if you've never been to see like a Survivor viewing party with survivors, you guys can attest to it. It is so freaking fun. Roger Bingham, who's going to be there 1 week from tonight, he came to my Survivor Caramoan viewing parties when I did them. And I remember as a huge Survivor fan, all my friends, family, I'd doing it at Buffalo Wild Wings every week, packed house. And one night it's like the legendary Roger Bingham shows up. And like I'm watching myself on the TVs and I'm like looking over and Roger's watching me. And it was a trip. And now I'm able to do this with other fans, and it's a great time. So
and I mean, you're gonna be able to watching you next week.
You're gonna be watching me, watching you, watching him, watching Johnny, watching Sandra, the Queen. I don't know, but tonight we watched episode 3, and this was the first couple episodes. I feel were strong. A lot of crazy stuff went down. I feel tonight's episode, as Alex and I spoke before we went on, a good amount of character development, kind of learning more about people. We're learning more about Danny. And we didn't even really get like a lot of Jam and Caroline tonight. We're getting some of these other people.
No, but Jam did carry that block by himself. He'll let you know.
He did. So what overall first impression, we see Helen is gone, right? Yeah. Are you guys fine with that? Are you cool with that? Do you think that she got screwed? Where's your head at?
I just think I was saying this earlier to Matt. Like outside 41 and 42, I feel like, or maybe because of 41 and 42, I think in this setup currently in these smaller tribes, these like smaller girls that are strategic and like ready to play the game, Survivor fans, are being put, I feel like, in a bit of a disadvantage because in a small tribe where like you're going to be valuing tribe strength, even though like in most cases you should be picking your interpersonal relationships more and who you trust more. It gets hard to not look at. It also is very hard to look at, like for tonight's boot, where Jeff consistently calls you out for sitting out when like it's a tribe decision to figure out who's the best for a challenge.
Right.
And so the smallest things can set people off. I felt Helen was a character that could have done well, just like how I felt Maddie in the first episode. It was a character that could have done well, had signs of being a game player, but that's the nature of Survivor. Does not matter how good or bad of a player you are. If you're in the wrong situation, you go home.
Now,
yeah, I think that's one of the downsides with the 3 tribes. I'm starting with 6 people. We've touched on that a lot. That it gives you. You shouldn't be starting out with 6, especially when on episode 1 they love to do this journey, and so you know that 2 out of the 3 tribes they're going into that first tribal they're going to attend, where only 5 people can vote. Like on day 2, on day 5, on day 7, that's way too soon for 5 people, only 5 votes to be cast. And so I think that is one of the downside, but it's with this format, I really don't know what else can change.
I really hope they change it up in the future. Like I'm liking this season. This is not crapping on this season. So far, I'm really digging it. However, I really would like to see a 2 tribe. I mean, if you want to switch it up to 3, like day 5, whatever.
Sure.
But just start off to where I have the first at least 2 tribal councils with the bigger playing field. Because as you're saying, Alex, we are finding that these strategic players that quite possibly could be a big force to be reckoned with in the gameplay of Survivor are going out early. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see a lot of them. So the odds of them coming back to return to play again is slim.
Yeah. And the other thing here, and possibly next week, based off of what like the next time on is, without saying drop your buffs, there is some implication. There's been in the rumor mills about potentially a swap happening. I would love to see a swap to 2 tribes. What makes the 2 tribes better for this format, though, and then to switch to 3 tribes, like you're saying, is look at the start of the season where they do the journey. I like that we haven't done the journey since. They're making sure the amount of advantages out there is minimal or like normal, I should say. If you are forced to potentially lose your vote, like 66% chance you lose your vote, you are, in more cases than not, you should be screwed when you go back to camp. We're seeing currently there's a trend of people losing their votes and them being fine in this game or in this current setup of Survivor. But in a bigger tribe, there's more places, not necessarily to hide, but more places to target votes. And I think that's more interesting than just like, okay, we have 6 people. Now we only have 5 people who can vote, but he has an idol. So we're going to just bank all their votes on this person. It's a 4-0 vote with someone using their shot in the dark unsuccessfully, which is like, it's not a dramatic way to go out, obviously. Not everything's going to be dramatic. We're going to have a come down episode like we did tonight. But it's just interesting. Like we said, we love the characters. I'm loving the path of the season. You truly have no idea how it's going to go. Right. Like a lot of preseason favorites have all gone out already. So it's sort of fun to see what's going to happen next.
Including Alex's winner pick.
Don't talk about it.
Who's your winner pick again?
It was Claire.
It was? Oh,
yeah, because I have to support my Jewish Survivor alum. So Claire, if you're listening, I was rooting for you the entire time. I'm very sad to see you go.
Yeah, I mean, we start off the episode. Helen is gone. Carson is he's stoked. He says that she was, needed to go, but people start thinking that Carson is now dangerous. I believe who was it that was saying
Sarah?
Yeah, and he is dangerous because he's, like I said, I was shitting on him in the cast assessment because he's so young, but I'm digging his gameplay. I think he's a lot smarter than the majority of younger players that play this game that we've seen.
Oh yeah.
Like in the past, we've seen the dreadlock dude on season, I forget his name.
JD.
JD. and other younger
Kobe.
players that just kind of, I don't know. I think Carson just seems older than his age. He's a
But
little
at the
more
same time,
mature.
I'm seeing his youth because there's certain ways that like mannerisms, way you're talking to someone, and he's like, "Oh, I need to get Sarah back on board. Oh, I totally want to still work with you. Like me and you are just the same exact way." But it's something I was sort of semi predicting last week, whether it was on here or offline. Was when you get burned by someone that you felt like you were aligned to, even if you found out ahead of time, because we do know from the exits that everyone knew that Sarah didn't have her vote, which is possibly a bigger reason why Carson makes this jump.
Yeah.
You're going to be more mad at the person who turned on you than the people that you were potentially targeting. So more likely than not, if they are to stay in one tribe or in one unit, you will see Sarah go to Jam Jam and Carolyn. And then those two will have the decision of, do we take out Sarah or do we take out Carson? And I think there's a reasonable argument to take out Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw out, going back to last week, because we were wrong on something, but we didn't have the facts, didn't come out, because we were shitting on Carolyn because she said, oh, like she found this idol and like, it's a fake one. I'm not sure if everyone saw it. What she has, it actually is the real idol. The cool thing that they're doing is, you know how in the birdcage, there's a real idol and then there's a fake one. The fake idol they have is another tribe's real idol. So it was from the Soka tribe.
It looks identical to the real idol of another tribe, and then that tribe's fake idol looks identical to a real idol on the other tribe, and so on and so forth. So there is more magic that can happen with these fake idols than just, oh, it's a fake idol.
Wow. So it's going to be, people are going to be confused on what the hell's going on.
Well, I mean, people are getting bought by ripping off a string from your torch and thinking it's an idol these days. So,
yeah.
Or a worm.
I mean, the thing is when you do have beads and stuff like that on props that are around camp, I love that people are actually making fake stuff out of the elements that they're giving, just like a prop from the show.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know what else I like? Us as Americans, who doesn't love a good Canadian anthem to start the day?
Okay.
Our boy Kane. Honestly, I know there's sort of ideas about this, and I don't think he's a good player. He entertained me tonight.
He is something else with his Dungeons and Dragons. He wants to be the hero. He's a sword master. I'm sure he has a collection of like I don't know, medieval weapons in his house.
I mean, if you want your sword smooth and clean, use Manscaped with the promo code Survivor.
That's right. That's right.
No, that wasn't the first time he swung around like a fake sword. Like that dude LARPs, like that live action role.
He's a LARPer.
Like when you go to like a park and you see these dudes like battling in full like swords and like gear and stuff.
But like if you're on that tribe, I think he's good energy. He seems to be a very like upbeat person, which is good to have. And like you sort of do hear it from him. It's just like morale's up on this tribe after that immunity win. Like it was getting first also, I think it just gave them all just a good adrenaline boost and some unity. Because and maybe it's because they weren't going to go to tribal. This episode, they were the cohesive group amongst the three tribes tonight.
And we see Brandon, who he's getting ready to go fishing, and he wants to prove to everybody, look, I played in the NFL, but I'm more than just a football player, because I think sometimes if you play a sport, even I see it with my son's teenage friends, that sport becomes their entire identity. They're like just a one-dimensional person, which drives me crazy, because at the end of the day, sports are cool. I like watching sports, but I quit soccer when I was a freshman because I realized there was way cooler shit to do in the world besides just play soccer. So we see this in him. He's snowboarding and shows footage of him snowboarding. He's like, I play drums, I cook, I dabble in magic. I mean, it does get a little bit of Debbie-esque as far as how many
hobbies he has.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, because like I feel like they're taking so far a different approach with like the backgrounds of people so far. Like we're not getting them all at once. They're spreading it out a little more. And for those that isn't just like this, like, oh, it needs to be inspiring because this is such a tragic story. They're not treating it like, oh, this is a tragic story. Right, it was like, oh, I've been through a bad relationship. I just got broken up with, but this is my chance to like sort of figure out who I am. Or this was like, I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm more than just this box. And here are these things I do. And now Survivor's this new opportunity for me to get even more out of my comfort zone. Right. And that's the story I feel like us as fans enjoy. Because it's applying your life to the game in a way that's more, I think more people can get it.
Yeah, right. Yep. And I like seeing this because I'm personally like when we've had like basketball player people like our professional athletes or that one Jeff Kent, the baseball player, I'm associating these people only with their sport. This guy, I'm like, I don't even care that he's in the NFL. It's not a detriment. It's really nothing to me. Like, it's cool, but I like the fact that he's just wanting to be just a normal dude that's, wants to test himself and really play the game of Survivor.
Yeah, but then you would have, if Fair Play was on tonight, you'd be like, I would also be asking him what his net worth was so that I can, for no reason, it's not that I won't go to the end with him and then say, this guy's worth this amount of money. Do you want to give him another $1 million?
That is true. It'd be good to call him out if, because I wouldn't want to give a millionaire the money. But what do you guys think about that? I know Fair Play has always talked about that. Like Survivor is meant to change somebody's life, right? Mm-hmm. If there's a millionaire, hey, they were an actor or something like that, but they played the best game. Would you give it to a person like Gabler, or would you give it to a millionaire that played a badass game?
Well, I think I would never give it to Gabler. So you're asking the wrong person there. But in an event where it's like close and that guy is or girl is one of those three, it would really, for me, I always think your relationship with the person, how you saw them play the game, and how they can say they played the game is what matters to me. Mm-hmm. What I see and what I can take in and think that's the truth, that's what I go with. For me, it does not matter what you are outside the game, because in the game, we are characters on a TV show playing a cutthroat game. So let the person who played, in my opinion, the best game win.
Well, I think it'd be cool if you're in a situation like that and you have a super wealthy, athletic, like NFL person or something who goes to the end with his ride or die alliance member, but the rich guy or girl played the best game, let them win the title and then have them just, hey,
I'll hook you up.
I'm gonna hook you up with the coin. But
it's like David versus Goliath. It was like Nick Wilson played a good game to win. I personally, at the end of it, would have voted for Mike White, but a lot of people didn't vote for Mike White because he was successful outside of the show.
Yeah.
But
someone put, let me see this. Kyle Dorr, I'd give it to Mike White or Lisa Welchel. I'm assuming any day over a Gabler.
Lisa Welchel played a great game.
Does Gabler have a lot of fans or no? Or more?
Don't think so.
I think you either enjoy his story or you want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I think there is no in between of someone who's like, I am lukewarm on Gabler.
Right.
Well, going back to like your question, Matt, I think it really also comes down to not just who played the best game, but who did you get along with out there? Who was your friend? That maybe that could be as simple as, okay, they may have played a better game and he's rich, but like I'm better friends with person X who's at the final three as well. And so I think we talk about a lot of who plays the best game, where I think a lot of these times these jury votes come down to is if they can't win the money, who do they want to see have it? Because it's who they had the best relationship with out there.
Yeah, right. That's
right.
Cool.
As we all know, in what us as viewers determine as what the best game is, is very subjective. What we say as podcasters is very subjective. It's like we all have different ideas of like, this is what the perfect game is. This is what the perfect strategy, the way to implement it, the way to blindside someone, the way to win immunity when you need to, the way to turn votes at a moment's notice, at tribal, at a live tribal, before tribal. It's like, ultimately, we get to see a lot more than what even the players do, and we only see a small portion of it.
Yeah.
So they do the best to tell us a story. All we can do is react to it, and sometimes we react very aggressively.
And sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, these are people that I'll most likely become friends with and meet that are playing this game. And no hard feelings to anyone if we ever crap on you. So
come to us like Mike from season 42 and call me out to my face.
That's right.
and then I get him a drink.
That's right. So Soka, day 6, Matt and Franny are talking about going on road trips together.
Oh, they're just showmans, guys.
This is dangerous. People are noticing that those two are, thick as thieves. Now, whether you think they're going to have this showmance the whole season or not, when I played Caramoan, there were 2 couples, Eddie and Reynolds, and it was Hope and Allie. And I liked all of them. But it was like instantly the hookups, the cuddling, and the rest of my go-to tribe is just like, look, this could be a bad situation because there's not just like one potential showmance, there's 2. So you get all 4 of those together, it's like, this is the first thing that we have to cut apart right now. So I feel that we've talked about this. Will Franny come to her senses at some point and realize I might have to vote out Matt to save myself in a situation where people are like threatened by our showmance, if you want to call it.
I would like to be optimistic about it based on what we hear later in the episode, and maybe it was just part of her pitch in general, but like she tells Claire that in her mind the reason why she wants to keep Matt around, besides just the fact that she enjoys hanging out with Matt and they click, is that he is he's malleable. He will listen to us. He'll go in the direction that we want him to go.
Yeah.
Because he trusts us, and that's what he values. We can use that. I would like to hope that she's able to then use that to stay ahead of him, where that he would be taken out before her. Because I would say as a character, I enjoy Franny more than I enjoy the character of Matt. Because Matt, I saw it more this week with what I believe you said last week, Matt. He comes off as like a poor man's Owen Knight.
Yeah.
Just like it's like it's a worse position almost because he's getting this goofball edit where it's like Owen had some goofy parts of his edit, but like you saw him as like an underdog who was trying to figure out how to get back in, whereas Matt's just like, oh, I found an idol, even though it's fake. Oh, I have a new girlfriend now. I don't know what their status is. But
I think Franny would vote out Matt. I don't think Matt would vote out Franny.
Yep, I agree with that. That's an accurate statement. Well, we get some funny Matt moments because Danny has the real idol. He is able to kind of sneak on the down low to go in the bird cage and put the fake idol in there with the parchment that basically says the part that he did not eat. And then he hid the key, in plain sight, just like Gabler was doing all last season. So this is a brilliant move, I feel, on Danny's part. Like,
it's fun.
I thought Danny's been really stepping it up last episode and tonight. Because episode 1,
they weren't around.
Danny who?
Yeah, the only story was Matt. Like Matt going on the journey, Matt having the breakup, Matt finding a connection in Franny. That was the Soka tribe as a whole.
Right.
What I enjoy about Danny is what I will also enjoy in the next like couple segments later. These people have come out like to play the game, but also like just have fun playing the game.
Yeah.
It's like Danny doesn't look stressed playing.
No.
He's like, I'm having the time of my life. I'm gonna do somersaults in the dirt to like try to sneak around people. I'm going to eat part of a clue because I don't trust just throwing it into the ocean. It's like, it's just fun. And like, oh, let me get someone to intentionally pick up this fake idol so that everyone else can think they have the real idol because I'll call them out.
Yeah.
And now it's a meaningless idol and it's a fake idol. And now I get to just sit pretty with my real idol in my pocket.
I love it. And I'm not comparing Danny to Tony Vlachos.
You can see part of it.
Huh?
You can see it a little bit.
But what I'm saying is like the entertaining value that you're saying, like I'm happy, I'm smiling, having fun, I'm good. That is the vibe I got from Tony Vlachos with the Spy Shack and this and that. He's having fun, like trying to do stuff. He's like, he's playing the game and he's serious, but he's out there to have fun. And there's goofy moments. And I feel that, we're getting that. And this moment where he hides that idol in the birdcage and then Matt finds it and Danny's going along with it, knowing the whole time. I thought it's brilliant. This is the beauty of the birdcage twist, in my opinion, for situations just like this to play out. Because I can't wait for Matt to like play this idol and it'd be like, that is not a hidden immunity idol.
And then everyone's face.
Yeah, or tonight, if you're at a viewing party with Matt and like Matt is watching himself like find the idol knowing that it's fake, it's freaking hilarious.
Oh.
It's funny.
Oh man. Well, apparently Jam Jam sounds like a monster at night.
Oh dude. That's bad.
I love that they touch it. It's just like it's such a good character moment because like you hear people talk about it after the show, like jokingly. It'd be like, oh, this person was snoring, so I wanted to vote him out just so I could be able to have some sense of sleep at night. Yeah. Maybe I could sleep for 2 hours instead of 1 if this person wouldn't be snoring like a monster. Mm-hmm. And I just love Jam Jam's reaction to it. Like, only my husband tells me this. Like, I thought I wasn't doing it here.
Yeah, it's like, dudes, I snore so loud and I'll like sound like I stopped breathing in my sleep. And my wife will like videotape me. She's like, dude, you sound like a damn bear. So like when I'm out on Survivor, it was so funny because I can sleep really easily. I fall asleep instantaneously. Mm-hmm. And people were getting so pissed that I snored. So it's like, how does Jam Jam think that like if you snore at home, like why wouldn't you be snoring on Survivor? If you snore, you snore. I imagine you snore in any place you would sleep, right? But yeah, it's a funny moment. And Caroline even says, I'm not going to vote you out, Jam Jam, just because you snore. But tell that to somebody on like day 20 when there's no one is sleeping because of his snoring. I mean, quite frankly, if I snored that bad, I would just say, hey, guys, I'm going to go down to the other end of the beach and sleep so I don't, prevent you guys from getting sleep.
Matt on Caramone, did anyone call you out for snoring?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'd be like, it was so funny because rats would be calling on us and stuff, and they'd be like, Matt, and I'd be like, huh? And I'd come to and stuff, and like, dude, you're snoring. I'm like, I'm not snoring. I would just deny it, but it was. Evident.
I always say like I think I used to snore when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I would wake up the next day and like, oh, you were snoring sometimes. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm asleep. What do you want me to do about it?
I know. Do you snore, Dan?
I do snore.
Pretty loud?
Yeah, I've had ex-girlfriends that have like literally kicked me in the middle of the night being like, shut the F up. Like,
oh, that is funny. And then when I drink, it's worse. Like if I've had some beer and if I like happen to sleep on my back, it's like worse. So like, yeah, my wife will like punch me and like roll over, dude, get off your back. You sound like a damn polar bear, But this I think it's so just a like we said, fun character development, camp life is what we got to see tonight in some of these characters.
Yeah, I think this is the best way because people are going to complain about all the advantages. But if you're using all this advantage talk to further develop these people to better understand them, then I think we have to accept that in this age of Survivor, like that's the best we're going to do. And we're still getting to know these people. It isn't solely about the advantages. So just accept it and enjoy it.
I love it because it's no different than like, I think it was in All Stars where like they had that little bit of like a cold open or something. It was very brief of like Rob Cesternino pretending to be Jeff Probst holding tribal with like the other people on the beat. It's like little fun things. It doesn't need to be long. This little like 30-second to a minute, you do that. You have someone talk about like their placement on the tribe, then you move to the next thing. It was like, it was great because that's all you get from Sarah is once again just reiterating, we are a weak tribe. Like we're great. I enjoy all of them. If we lose, I'm going home. So I like I need a challenge that's like somehow suited for us and we can win, or suited for someone else so that we can copy it and then win.
Right. So yeah, I mean the beauty of this whole idol thing with Danny is Danny's like not on anyone's radar whatsoever. So like no one's gonna have a clue that he's got the real idol. And you know, it sucks that everyone knows about you know, like Josh knows about his idol because Danny is calling out, hey Matt, you have this idol and stuff. So it's just the whole way that Danny kind of plants the idol back in the birdcage and sets it up like this was one of my favorite things of this episode.
I also love that he literally has to like handhold these people to get to the key that he replanted. It's just like these people are just like staring at a tree, seeing nothing, like check and then go on to next. It's like, no, move a few leaves. Like I didn't make it so that you could just see it. It was just like, you have to earn this. You have to earn this fake idol. Then he gets it. He sneaks off the gates, but I've been watching him, little sneaky devil. Then immediately goes to him in front of Josh, who's just like, you know, doing the baller, no shirt, just a sports coat, just like I'm gonna show off my abs. Like it's like, hey, so I saw you put something in your pants.
Oh, dude.
And it was fun, but the very key thing here that they showed us that I feel like some people missed, and then when you get to the second half of the episode, it comes to bear fruit, is Danny going to Heidi and be like, hey, Matt hasn't told you this yet. I want you to know because I trust you. I saw him put an idol in his pocket. He does have this. And so like through doing this with Heidi and confronting Matt in front of Josh, like you're gaining trust with those people because like, oh man, good job on calling them out. Like I hate that we can't really target him now because he has the idol, but we trust you. So then I think when it comes to the choice of is it Josh or is it Claire at the end, the work that he did involving his advantage and creating this fake idol to be a real one helped him gain favor with the people so that they swung in the direction he wanted the vote to go.
No, that makes sense. I mean, do you guys think that Danny is going to go far into this game?
I think he's going to get blindsided with his idol in his pocket.
You do? What about you, Dan?
I think he could be in a little bit of trouble if they do go to a swap like we're projecting. I don't think he's going to make it that far. I mean, I think
he gets to the earn the merge thing. Like I think people will be like suspect of him, but ultimately they're going to be like, but he can help us win a challenge. There's this other person who's weaker that we are also sus of. We can vote out.
Yeah.
Or even if it's the earn the merge challenge and he isn't on the winning end, I feel like he has that vote written all over him.
I think it would be dangerous to bring him to the immunity, like the individual immunity portion, because like sure he's he's bulky, but like he's a shorter guy who's bulky. Like I feel like some of these challenges will actually suit his like body type.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most challenge potential beast in an individual kind of thing. Depending, you know what though? We've seen a lot of challenges that aren't just about physical strength and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd be curious of how he would do on like those, you know, the one that Matt won last week with the one he practiced. Like, would Danny be good or something like that? Yes, snake maze.
But you said this, like the Danny segments were your favorite of the night. They are my second favorite because we're approaching my favorite segment, and it's this next segment at Ratu where we get character comedy and effective use of editing. Like very effective use of editing. Like I call out Survivor for their US Survivor, for their bad editing and how they decide to show how things happen. This was a very fun way of using a flashback. Really fun way to use comedy to flesh out a character that we didn't know about, and highlighting strategy of someone that I think they want us to view as one of the key players for a majority of the game. I would love to see Matthew win. I don't think he will at the end, but he's showing us like, I'm here to have fun, do anything that I can think of, I will do it. But let's start at the top. Yes. Jamie Lynn likes to eat raw worms.
Yeah, Matt, would you also consider yourself a plant daddy?
Yeah, are you a plant daddy or are you a plant lady?
I'm the plant daddy next to the sack daddy right here on the podcast tonight.
What a callback.
Wow. Matthew. I've been actually in communication with Matthew.
You look at the mirror.
Yeah, I know. As Johnny Fairplay calls him, the gay Matt Bischoff. I love Matthew. We have this plant lady and plant daddy, but the beautiful thing about it is like Matthew he's all about it. I'll be the plant daddy, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win this game. And I truly believe that he is there not to make friends, but to play the game. Well, I'm hoping his shoulder cooperates.
I know that's a scary part of it.
It is.
I'm hoping that they're just using it for the drama of it all.
Yes.
And it does, and it's not ultimately something that sends him home. But it's this. We now get to know more about Jamie because like we didn't know after episode 1, we're just like, who is this crazy girl? She has no clue what she's doing. We know in the exit press that she actually was a target in episode 1. So like using her shot in the dark wasn't a complete like out of nowhere thing to do.
Yeah, she was one that was like super mega paranoid, right?
Yeah. So, but as Matthew put on Twitter, it was like she was the initial target. So she actually had ample reason to do it. We know Survivor doesn't care about that because they aren't showing that in the edit. So her ability to win at the end, not there. But I felt this episode, I was like, you know what? She's fun. It's like sort of like you have your Carolyn, who's like the max level of like kookiness and fun comedy. But I think Jamie's also that. Yeah. And it was sort of just like a nice, pleasant scene where she's like, I just love the outdoors. I'll eat worms. I love that I'm bonding with Matthew. So now you're getting development of like, this is a pairing. So now I'm like, okay, if they lose, I think it's definitely Kane that goes because it looks like if Brandon and Matt are still a thing and Lauren's somewhere in that 3, Jamie having a good relationship with Matthew just puts Kane on the outs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting these connections, and I just love this fake out of they're looking for worms in the mud near the well, and suddenly she goes, "Oh, I found it! I found an idol!" But it's just like this string off of the torch, which I will call out. This is the one thing I have a gripe with. I think Survivor needs to get back to making more like, for less of a better word, attractive idols. Like something that I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is an idol. Like this is something I would be proud to have. Not, oh, my 3rd grader made this in crafting. It's just a bunch of strings tied together like a palm frond. Yeah. But we get that. And then you just see Matthew smirking because it's like, she doesn't have a real idol. That's a fake one. I found it last night.
Yeah, and it shows all of his shenanigans, proving that. I mean, the one thing Matthew did that was dumb was climb the stupid rock.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was overly excited. I'm playing Survivor, blah, blah, blah. I think he learned his lesson when he took the fall, and he's still suffering from it. But I think that he is a force to be reckoned with. I think he's very smart. I know Johnny doesn't like the fact that he has like bucket list things he wants to do because he's on Survivor, but I'm all about Matthew's game. I thought this whole segment was brilliant, and actually I think this Sunday I'm going to be in Matthew's hometown.
Nice.
So I may, if I get into Columbus, Ohio, in enough time, I'm going to try to just like meet up with him and say, hey, huh?
You can talk and get a trim from him.
I could.
Get some
I might
barber
just get a
talk.
damn haircut from that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do get Lauren here as well, like with the worm thing about like I just want to show I found this part funny because she was just like, I just want to prove to my kids that like you can like get over certain things. It's just about eating a worm. So like that I just love how kooky this like cast is. They're fun, they're enjoyable. Like we're getting into the immunity challenge at like 20 something minutes in, and I was just like, you know what? I had fun. Like all the pre-tribal stuff, I was just able to sit back and just enjoy watching the show.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And going back to Matthew finding the idol, what I really liked what he did here was it wasn't to necessarily plant suspicion on anyone. It was almost to test someone's loyalty. Just being like, this will be the test to see if I can bring Jamie in and her and I can work together, or if not, I have all the ammunition to just throw her under the bus.
And you just saw how willing she was. Like, it's me and you. Like, I'm not turning you. This idol's for us. Like, he's working very well. Like, I think not in the same way, but I feel like I compared him to Carla last week. I can see like some Jesse in just terms of how they're trying to tell his story of like, I'm here to play Survivor. I didn't know if I could ever do it. I'm a smaller guy on my tribe, but I'm playing balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And having fun doing it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So we go into day 7, the immunity challenge. Do you want to kind of give us a brief rundown of how this? It's immunity and reward.
It's immunity and reward, but first we do need to talk about. We need to talk to Kane. He's been abusing the sword a little bit. And if you also want to hear about abused swords, become a patron at realitypatron.com. Listen to this week's Q&A. Johnny talks about some sword play he had.
He does. The Q&A is the best thing that we did. It's my favorite podcast. It was mostly just us shooting the shit, hearing Johnny's crazy antics, and Johnny's got a lot of crazy stuff coming up. So if you haven't been a patron and you're a fan of fair play, now's the time because you're getting the nitty-gritty good stuff.
Well, absolutely. But with this challenge, you're starting on the platform in the water. You dive into the ocean, moving a large cube to 2 large poles where someone has to get on top of the poles, unspin keys off of those poles, get to land, dig under, and maneuver underneath a log, where then you would unlock the platform to then do a pattern tower puzzle, which a lot of people who have done them in the past, I've seen people replicate it in like live games in the US. There is like a big key to these that can let you solve it very quickly. I believe it's for each square, there's always going to be one dominant color. And wherever that dominant color is, you put like north and south. And then the other 4 should have all 4 colors. And then you do the next one the same way. And you can solve this very quickly if you know how to maneuver it. And we see Ratu do that. And like Ratu, whatever, they lost Maddie. Matthew has 1 arm. But they are finding a way to just get in front. And now maybe it's now that Brandon's more properly hydrating himself. They didn't have to lug coconuts for 4 hours each day. He's now being able to be more useful to help gain them a little bit of a lead. And then once you get that little bit of a lead, you can really start to take over.
Yeah. Yeah, in this challenge, I mean, we see Matthew struggling with his shoulder. At first, I thought, are they going to call like
I thought they
medical
were
in?
going to stop and be like, oh,
I thought he popped it out again. Like, maybe he did, and then but I was like, man, this is not good. His shoulder is screwed still. And I don't know if like his injury is something that, will take a couple weeks to go away, or if he's going to need like surgery or something after the game. Like, because I'm hoping like we see in the individual part of Survivor in the immunity challenge, there's a lot of times where it's like endurance challenges. You're holding your hand, your arm over your head with a bucket of water. And yes, he's got 2 arms. However, when you have a bad, shoulder, you're going to be overusing, you're going to overcompensate by using the other arm. So I'm really hoping it doesn't come back to bite Matthew in the ass, because if he had to go out of this game because of a shoulder injury, I would be very disappointed.
Yeah,
my guess is it shouldn't come to that, because if it was so bad that he was going to need surgery, I don't think he'd be moving as well as he is just a few days
he's
after.
Still on the island if it's something that needs surgery.
Yeah, right. Well, we have Soka's in the lead. You have Franny and Matt for Soka. Then you have Matthew and Kane for Ratu, and Jam Jam and Carson. And Ratu, however you say it, wins immunity. Tikka gets second place. And what they do when the first tribe solves this colorful tower block puzzle, the other two tribes go over and they're like, yeah, let's just go. There's no rule to say you can't go look at it. And I was surprised that the nerds, Matt and Franny, completely blew it. Because I would think there would be someone that
Carson's just a bigger nerd.
I think what probably happened is Tikka probably already had a couple of the squares right, and if for whatever reason Franny and Matt had to like completely reset or reset more than just one square, then that's how you win. It was just like we already had more right. Oh, this needs to be that way. Okay, fix. We're good. Because like it's just based off the editing, I think we only saw Tikka having to fix the top square.
Yeah, right.
So once that happened, then you're done. I always loved that type of puzzle. Like I remember there's like old challenges where it takes forever for them to solve it. Because unless you know how they work.
But you just told everyone, right? So you're saying that north and south.
What, like, there's usually a dominant color, or if there's patterns, there's a dominant pattern. We saw, Dan can back me up here, we saw this on Ride or Dies, the challenge, and you heard like one of the teams was like trying to help the other team, be like, hey, the star is the most common symbol, so that you need to have a star that's facing up on each block. So then from there you would get eventually you would be able to get it where all the other sides were showing unique symbols or unique colors. So it's just something that you either know or you don't know. But like I also think it's just something you can piece together as you are going along. But these squares are set up in a way where if you mess up one, you may have it in the completely wrong place and you have to completely reset.
Yeah. My only question with this is because Jeff even made a comment. He's just like, oh, I wonder if someone else has practiced this challenge at home. Why are they so happy and do they want so many people to come out prepared?
Jeff isn't realizing the whole, like, because you hear him on his podcast talking about like how I'm trying to play the game before the players do. Like I want to always be ahead of them because if they figure out what we do, it's boring. And like those were his exact words. And I'm like, but at the same time, you're parading about people replicating your puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not, you're not ahead of them, because if they can replicate the puzzles and you're recycling them because it's cheaper to just redo puzzles that you've already done.
I want to see new stuff.
Like, and we did see some new things last season.
What's
so
that?
I'm hopeful that we still continue to see little tweaks and adjustments as we go along here.
Real quick,
but if you want tweaks and adjustments to below the waist, we got a product for you.
Yeah, trimming your pubic hair. You don't want what's on my face in between your legs. So we're gonna have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it! 4000K LED! No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive Reality After Show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, Patron.com.
And we are back, and we gave a little challenge reference right before we went to commercial break about the puzzle you were saying, Alex. So today I was surprised by a dear old friend of mine, a BMX legend named Chad Kagi, one of my dear friends who used to ride for my bike company.
So not TJ Lavin.
Huh?
Not BMX legend TJ
No,
Lavin.
we were talking. So he's really good friends with TJ. And he was like, we were sitting around talking today. And he's like, I was telling him about our podcast and shit. And he's like, dude, TJ just reached out to me out of the blue the other day about something or whatever. And they were talking. So my friend Chad was telling me about some just kind of behind the scenes stuff that TJ has shared with him about, being a host of the challenge, because Dave Mira, who was my friend today, Chad Kagi, so they were all competitors in like the X Games and the Dew Tour and all these big BMX competitions. So unfortunately, Dave Mira, legendary BMXer, used to host the challenge. Dave had CTE.
Mm-hmm.
He committed suicide. Devastating blow to BMX. Terrible, horrible. And that is a problem in BMX with some of these guys that hit their head a ton. And my friend Chad, who I was hanging out with today, we were talking about TJ. TJ Lavin had a massive BMX injury.
Oh, yeah.
That he's a different person. After a little bit, he's the same but different. And it's crazy how these injuries can really affect you. My friend Chad today, when we were hanging out, he had a career-ending BMX injury. He shattered both heels of his feet, broke his femur, he's broken his neck, and he's going through a divorce right now. And a lot of it is due to the physical and mental anguish that being a gladiator on a BMX bike. He was telling me, dude, when I freaking I came down from 40 feet in the air onto my feet and stuff, and they just basically exploded, dude. So you're in massive pain all the time, which causes you to go into Great Depression, which causes your personality to be not what it normally is, and it can cause a lot of problems. We're all not, we're not perfect, but it was great to see Chad today. And I was telling him, I'm like, dude, it's so crazy, dude, because TJ is a big deal as a host for the challenge. He's a freaking rock star. And for a lot of us BMXers, he's just a BMX dude. But I was like, we need to get him on the podcast and I think I can make that happen. I really do. I would like to surprise Johnny and just be like, I have a special guest tonight. That would probably be, I might just do that and then just quit the podcast afterwards. Just be like, I'd be like, dude, this is nothing's gonna top this. But yeah, it was really cool because my friend Chad was like, yeah, like TJ was saying how he went to like I don't watch the challenge, but like South Africa for like 6 months at a time, dude.
Yeah,
like he'll be gone for forever, and then he'll come back to town and stuff. But yeah, crazy stuff. We were talking about TJ earlier, so I need to make that happen. But we go. And we haven't talked about the immunity challenge yet, have we? Oh yeah,
no,
we did.
Ratu won. The other copy
Soka loses.
Tikka, Soka loses for the first time. They do like make a note again of like Jeff's like continuously calling out Claire, and I want to know what you think about that, because like in this new age, outside of like the asking people questions so that they can say the secret idol phrases, we haven't seen Jeff like actually do the mat talk. Like you'd see in Australian Survivor, but it seems like extremely pointed, where like we're not seeing it with anyone else but him like consistently essentially bashing Claire for sitting out. What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like that almost pushes a tribe in a direction of how they should vote, because he's influencing it.
So people always ask me, is Survivor real? Is it fake? Is it scripted? And I said, no, it's completely real. However, you have a producer that takes you on a walk in the woods to get your confessional, right? And they have like a little notepad, and they know everything that's going on. And they might be like, hey, Matt, you and Dan Montchal are like super tight in an alliance. Aren't you afraid that maybe he's going to like backstab you or something? So they'll say these questions that will put paranoia into your head, right? So like they'll ask leading questions, right? Nothing is scripted, but if you're not careful, you could get yourself in trouble in like a confessional, because they're asking tricky questions and you're just providing an answer, right? So like in these situations of tribal council, I feel that yes, Jeff pointing out the obvious, that Claire sits out challenges. Everyone in her tribe knows she sits out challenges, and she's doing nothing but try to defend herself by saying, look, I sat out because it was a tribe decision, which I get that, but I disagree. I feel that, she says, I'm out here playing Survivor. I want to get the Survivor experience. There is no way in hell that I would want to sit out any freaking challenge in Survivor if I'm out there playing.
Oh, I agree with
Not
that
at
part.
all.
I agree with that part 100%. The part that I like, because it's a tricky situation you find yourself in, because obviously at the first challenge, no one expected it to be where you would already be able to sit someone out. And so you sit her out because it looks like it's something extremely physically demanding. She's the smallest person on your tribe. Cool. Makes sense. You sit her out, you dominate that challenge. And because it sort of bends the rules a little bit, where it's a new round, anyone can sit again. And now he's like, well, we won doing it this time. Why not do it again?
Mm-hmm.
So for the best of the tribe, can you please sit out again? And she doesn't feel like she can fight for that.
Yeah.
Be like, no, let me do this. She's like, but if I do sit, then we'll win.
Yeah.
But now you get into that spot where you hear it at tribal. It's like, well, what do you value more? Do you value challenge strength to avoid coming to tribal, or do you value the bonds and the trust you're building amongst the people in your tribe? What matters more in this style of game? And once again, being in a smaller tribe strength's gonna win out a lot of the time.
It is, especially when it's a 6-person tribe. But here's the thing. I don't know why Claire sat out challenges. Claire does not look like a weakling. Someone like Matt or Franny, who's a total
see her as
nerd,
weak either.
look like they would do worse in a challenge than Claire. So I don't know why. Like if I'm out there and people that are listening that are going to go out and play Survivor, my suggestion is do not be a Sandra Diaz-Twine or a Claire and sit out on back-to-back-to-back challenges, because in this new realm of Survivor, there's nowhere to hide. And if you're on a 6-person tribal council, you want the least amount of attention on yourself, because the more attention that's brought to you to be someone that needs to be voted out plays a huge role. Because if there was 10 people, it wouldn't be as big of a deal.
Right.
But you have her sitting out, and then you have Jeff Probst pouring gasoline on it, being like, look, you're not sitting out. And someone in our chat just was like, Cody Giroux, I don't think Jeff likes people who do that. It must be like a casting nightmare. Like Jeff, like not liking that people sit out of challenges like
well,
this.
don't let them then. There's an
so,
easy way to make people compete. And also, like, Dan, you can tell me if
what are you
would be
saying,
a good
Dan?
idea. It's like the rule was you couldn't sit out in back-to-back challenges, ... in a round.
Mhm.
What's a round?
A
What
round would
defines a
be a
round?
reward challenge, immunity challenge, tribal council.
So,
A round
episode
ends
cycle.
at tribal council.
Okay.
So technically, it's a new round because they're only doing immunity challenges combined with a reward.
So if there's a reward and an immunity, let's say tonight there's a reward and an immunity. Claire sits out the reward. She would have to go to the immunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then next week, it starts over again.
Yeah, it starts over again. So what you should do now is, if this is the precedent, if you're staying in a 26-day game where you can't have days for reward and a day for immunity, is you cannot sit back-to-back challenges, period, end of story. Because now she's forced to compete last episode.
Yeah.
Someone else sits out, then she could sit out this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just make more sense that way.
I agree that would be a better rule. But on all of it, 2 comments. I would still imagine that Jeff is having those mat chats. We're just not seeing it. And my only guess is that it's left in there because it was supposed to kind of tell the narrative of the story. But going back to like just her being sitting out time and time again, and it's a tribe decision. I would just say that if you pick, just 5 other random people and you're on a tribe with them, there's no way you could ever convince me that on everything, I'm the worst at all of that. And if that's truly what they believe, that, Claire's the worst at all of that, unfortunately, that tells you all that you need to know about what they think of you.
Now it doesn't matter that, I like her. I want to work with her. I think she's beneficial to my game in the survivor part of the game, not the challenge part of the game. However, if I feel I have good enough relationships with X, Y, and Z on my tribe, I'm willing to let this person go for the sake of, tribe unity, tribe strength, the ability to avoid more tribal councils than you need to go to, and then continue to build off your game. So that's the pattern. So we know originally the idea that some had was Matt. They wanted to take Matt out. I like that they're pointing at Matt, and like Josh was saying specifically, I wanted Matt out, not Matt and Franny or Franny. He was focused on Matt. But it's like this idol messes things up. Him and Danny start talking, and they're like, so what's more important? And we believe it's tribe strength. Claire sat out. They're starting to create a narrative of like, let's create some resentment to Claire, even though we told her to sit out. Now we're going to resent her because she's not doing the work in the challenges. And now you can really get the ball rolling. And they tell Franny. And Franny's just like, I don't like that. She's also someone who I bonded very well with. I trust her. I think she's good strategically. But we heard last episode that she was like, I trust her, but I'm not going to let myself be blinded by the fact that I trust her. And I think like that's what we see cascading throughout the episode, because we get, okay, if we want this to happen, we'll target Josh because we want to keep Danny for tribe strength. We can get rid of Josh because he just does not talk game to us. This comes down to
my real question is, who is Josh close with out there other than Danny? Because you see, Matt didn't want to tell him because first he pulled aside Danny and was like, hey, I found this. I didn't want to say it in front of Josh. You have Franny saying that she's really had no conversations with Josh. You had Heidi saying that, I've never talked game with Josh. So is Josh just close with Danny and he's just cool with that?
I think strategically he's close with Danny. I think he's liked on his tribe. Like, I think he's like agreeable, not rubbing people the wrong way. but he's rubbing people the wrong way in a strategic sense of I'm not talking game with you.
Yeah. That guy, Josh, is originally from Cincinnati. I don't know if he's going to be in town at all. But
I think he's in
yeah.
Atlanta now.
Yeah, Atlanta.
But this gets us to an important player. And now we're starting to see something. Now, because we're forced to see Soka, we're now getting more of the people.
Yes.
And we go cue Dan's winner pick from that Yinzer, Heidi. I wasn't low on Heidi, but the fact that in the first 2 episodes the only thing we got was her making the fire, I was just like, oh, she's inconsequential. I'm gonna put her lower in like my visual like power rankings of people in the game. We leave this episode, I'm like, she is sort of the queen maker of her tribe.
Yes,
because she's very direct to people. It's like, I don't know. And Claire's trying to use emotion and be like, really? You're, like, it's between me and him. Like, why aren't you? I need to make a decision for myself here. And then you see her with Franny, with Matt, and with Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And both Danny and Franny have differing opinions, but both say to her, I will go whatever way you tell us we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows the power currently in this tribe that she has.
Oh, yeah.
They all trust her. They all like her. They think she's valuable to them. But she gets to make the call.
Yeah, it's important. And I hope to get a selfie with her sometime this season. Hint, hint.
Could not possibly know where.
Yeah.
Certainly
well, if
won't
you
be in
guys
the next week or so.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I've always wanted to meet the gay Matt Bischoff also. So we'll see. But yeah, Claire goes out in this episode.
Before we do that, can we talk about how fucking corny it was that a chunk of valuable time in the game for the filming.
The gargoyle?
The stupid gargoyle.
Yeah, Jeff Post goes, I'm the gargoyle.
He's like, look at that. The gargoyle represents the game. It's scary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro.
That was really cheesy.
That's the monster he's been talking about for 2 years now.
That's the monster that gave Bruce a concussion.
The gargoyles and the sword and stuff, it's a different thing. I don't know what the art department must be bored. Like, we're in Fiji. Excuse me, for way too many years.
Make me something different. Make me a castle.
Kane picked it all out. It's cool.
But yeah, Claire goes. She tries playing her shot in the dark.
I was hoping it was going to work.
She had the sense. I like that she was just like straight up direct with Heidi. Like, hey, have you changed your decision at all? And Heidi's like, no. Okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. I have to do this. And so like this is where I think like the shot in the dark makes sense. Where we now have 2 different times where I feel like it's appropriate to use it now that it's a mechanism in the game. Yeah. If you know you're being voted out unanimously, there is no point throwing your vote.
Right.
Because if you can get the shot in the dark and you get safe, now you're forcing all these people who just unanimously voted for you to vote amongst each other.
Yes.
The other way is how Matthew utilized it, where I'm using it to avoid showing my cards and potentially burn idols. It was like you're hitting multiple birds with one stone the way that Matthew was applying it. So those are the 2 ways to use it. Don't be like saying it's like, I'm just going to use it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like,
right. So I'm bummed that Claire is gone because I think she was a game player that had a lot of game in her. And with, like we said at the beginning, the small format is not doing well for these female players, especially that are strategic players. Overall, entertaining episode as far as like the camp life and stuff. Pretty straightforward tribal, nothing too crazy. I was hoping Claire's shot in the dark worked, but it did not.
Oh, before we close it out, I was talking with you about it offline, Matt, but I want to pitch it to Dan as well.
Yes.
Should the right move for Danny should have been having everyone still vote Matt out with the fake real idol, sending it out to pasture. So now everything that was in that bird cage to everyone else on that tribe is now gone. And he gets to hold on to it without really needing to stress about anyone asking further questions about what was in the cage.
I think that probably would have been the right move. I'm confused with Matt because he's saved here, but we're not entirely sure why. Because from what we're being shown, he's really only close with Franny. We don't really see him bonding with too many other people. So I don't understand what the point was keeping him. I think it would have been the effective move, but there has to be some relationships there that we're not seeing, or there's a few people that really value Franny and she's still protecting him.
Or it's the challenge strength thing blinded
too.
them from making this move. I just think personally, as a game player who views the board, I'm not in there to make those judgments. Obviously, it would be different if I was on that island. I just think the right move should have been still, we're putting a majority on Matt. We're sorry, Franny. We still like you. We don't think he brings value to the group, and he has no votes, so he can't play his shot in the dark. You know, if he plays his idol, he plays his idol. We get it. But he can't throw a vote our way regardless. So let's pack our votes on him. If you don't want to vote for him, that's fine. Vote how you will.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to happen. She tells Matt he plays the idol. It is fake. That's the only part that I think also, if Danny was thinking it, maybe gave him pause on executing it. Because he almost needs Matt to be blindsided with the idol so that it's not discovered that it's fake.
Yeah, that has to be the only thing, is just fear that if he does play it and they come out it's fake, that there's more suspicion on him, where right now there's absolutely none.
No, zero. Well, you guys, it was a fun episode. We are 3 episodes in already. It's crazy. If you want to hear Johnny Fairplay and Wayne Mehmet's reaction to tonight's episode, they usually do it on Friday. They do Johnny Fairplay's podcast, and because tonight he's in Nashville with Sandra Diaz-Twine at a viewing party. So if you would like to watch Survivor with me, Roger Bingham, Johnny Fairplay, Sandra Diaz-Twine, maybe some special guests that I kind of gave away in this episode, Cincinnati, Ohio at the Filson, 1 week from tonight, survivortix.com, survivortix.com, $25 general admission, $75 VIP. It's going to be a super good time. There's going to be a fire making challenge. It's going to be epic as hell. A lot of pre-sale tickets already. I think this can be the best Cincinnati show that we have had, and we've done quite a few in Cincinnati over the years. So come on out. I'm getting my house ready for Fairplay and Mrs. Fairplay and Sandra Diaz-Twine to infiltrate my house. It's going to be great having the Queen here. That's the benefit of myself, as a Survivor fan and an alumni who got to play Survivor Caramoan. I've met a lot of cool people along the way, not only Survivor players, but Survivor fans. And that's how I met Dan and Alex and a lot of people involved in this whole community of the Reality After Show. So if the best way to support the podcast is to become a patron, realitypatron.com. We have a secret Facebook group that we communicate all the time, post fun stuff, talk about the shows we love. We do a weekly Q&A and amongst other things. So realitypatron.com. If you don't like it, Johnny will send your money back. But I tell you what, I'm entertained each and every week hearing about Johnny's Bolivia trip he took all the month of February and his, next Bolivia trip that he's taking.
I don't know why you're putting quotes over it. It's a legit
I don't know. In the month of April, I don't know what even quotes doing, dude. I'm being an idiot. But become a patron. And next week, you're going to be seeing Dan and Alex. I'm assuming will be holding down the fort while I'm at the viewing party. But fun season. I am stoked, and we will see you next week. If you want to roll the credits, Alex, we love you all. Cheers and good night, y'all.
And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.